Welcome back to the Toffee Booze, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ollie Hayes and say I'm bringing my extra time match review of Crystal Palace 1, Everton 2, our fifth game in the league without defeat. The David Moyes revolution is in full swing now, but let me get straight into it with my thoughts of the victory from Saturday afternoon. And we'll start with my starting 11 thoughts. And it was as expected, really, that Carlos Alcaraz and Jack Harrison were going to come into the team, obviously with Iliman and Jai picking up an injury in the Merseyside derby and Abdoulaye Doucouré and all his antics at the end, getting himself sent off. So he was obviously suspended for Saturday's trip to Selhurst Park. But yeah, as I said before, I think it was expected that Alcaraz and Harrison were the two that were going to come in. Obviously, a little bit of a switch of tactics for David Moyes, with Alcaraz not a similar kind of player to Abdoulaye Doucouré. He's obviously more forward thinking, so a little bit of a switch up in tactics. But again, I do think that the changing options, I think it shows that our squad depth will be quite strong when we are fully fit. Obviously, at the moment, it is relatively threadbare, but it is exciting that we do have options to come into the team. And obviously, when we do get these injuries off the injury table and start to have a full squad together, I think our squad depth will look quite exciting. But obviously, as I said before, it is relatively threadbare at the moment. But again, on Carlos Alcaraz, I think it was going to be intriguing to see his first start. Obviously, not too sure on the details of his loan. I think we're pretty much halfway towards making it permanent now. I think they originally reported 8 games to make it permanent. I think he's played 3 already. So again, I think don't be surprised to see him being a permanent sign at the end of the season. But we'll go into the first half, and obviously it was a bit of a slow start for Everton. We know Selhurst Park is a difficult place to go. A good atmosphere, a very tight stadium. The fans are massively on top of you, and it's one of these old school stadiums that seem to really generate an atmosphere. But early on, Pickford made a few crucial saves from Jean-Philippe Mateta and Mark Gahey, and also Ismaila Sarr rattled the bar very early on. And I think even Jefferson Lerma had a goal chalked off. He scored a header from a corner. I think the ball went out of play, which I think was the official ruling. I think David Moyes made reference to that in his post-match press conference, saying that it was a correct decision. But again, it just showed that we were under pressure in the opening minutes of the game. And again, I did expect a difficult afternoon based on that start that we made, but it was Everton that took the lead, incidentally. A loose throw from Tyrant Mitchell. Alcaraz reacted really well and found Beto. Beto, one touch to control and slotted it into the bottom corner, putting Everton 1-0 up. And he looks a different player under David Moyes, doesn't he, Beto? It's so refreshing to see. Obviously, was massively out of favour under Sean Dyche. There was talks of him even leaving the club in January, but to see the performance he's putting in now under David Moyes, it's every credit to him because he's really stuck at it. You can see he's really enjoying his football, and he looks just happy to be playing football and happy to be at Everton. So again, full credit to Beto and full credit to David Moyes for putting his arm around him and just getting the best out of the player, because it's really catapulting us up the table, because you've had such a player like Beto on the bench for so many months, and there's real potential there and there's real goals. And I'm happy to say I was one of these people that stuck by Beto for the whole time. I always said that he would come good, a little bit of consistency in the team, and he would come good. And we really are bearing the fruits for now, trusting Beto up front. But again, it was kind of against the run of play. Everton going 1-0 up, obviously. Palace having a lot of chances early doors. I did expect us to go 1, maybe 2-0 down, but it was us that took the lead. And again, full credit to David Moyes, because we didn't really sit back on that. Under Sean Dyche, that was a real characteristic of the Everton team, that if we did go 1-0 up, we would sit on that lead and just soak up all the pressure and try and do it for 90 minutes. And, it's like one of these things, if you put enough pressure on something, it's going to break eventually. And I think that's what a Sean Dyche team was. I think that was why we were leaking goals so much. But David Moyes has really found a balance where we can create chances still when we are 1-0 up to try and consolidate that, but we are also defensively solid. So again, every credit to Moyes tactically there. But again, it was kind of a little bit of a lull towards the end of that first half. Obviously, us going 1-0 up, I think we just wanted to keep it tight and try and get into half-time leading there. But again, half-time thoughts, I was thinking there's a real opportunity here to make it 5 in a row in the league without defeat. And every credit to David Moyes for putting us on that run. But going into that second half, Crystal Palace made 2 changes at the break. Oliver Glasner brought on Adam Wharton and Eberechi Eze for Crystal Palace, and they kind of made an immediate impact, as you would expect. I think they are 2 top players, Jefferson Lerma and Devaney, coming off for Crystal Palace. And early doors in that second half, I was expecting us to come out a little bit better than we did. It was a little bit lackluster, and Jean-Philippe Mateta found himself in the box with a one-on-one against Jordan Pickford, and he was always going to finish there. You give Jean-Philippe Mateta an inch in the boxing, and he's always going to take a mile. So again, it kind of set up a little bit of a cagey second half, because you're going into a second half where you're trying to protect a lead, but you're also trying to create chances. If you concede in very early doors in that second half, all the plans kind of go out the window. But again, fair play to David Moyes. He kept us solid. He made a couple of changes. Ashley Young came on for Jesper Lindstrom, and it was just quite cagey. Both sides were creating chances, but there wasn't much in terms of quality going forward. And but for a certain Carlos Alcaraz on 80 minutes, a loose ball falling to him in the box. It was a great header from Jake O'Brien, which struck a Palace player on the arm, I think, and it did drop to Ashley Young, who saw his shot rebound to Carlos Alcaraz, who finished so calmly in the box. And seeing Everton go 2-1 up, and getting his first goal in Everton blue, also getting his first assist. What a performance and what a finish from him. I'm so happy for the lad because he had a little bit of a difficult time at Juventus, for example, and obviously Southampton, they were a team that was struggling at the time. So it just looks like he's enjoying his football. And obviously his first start, his first goal and his first assist. It's not a bad afternoon in South London for the lad. But again, we held on from there to get our first win in the capital since November 2023. Incidentally, that was also at Selhurst Park against Crystal Palace in that 3-2 victory. That was actually the last time we played against Crystal Palace away from home. And again, it just shows what kind of mentality David Moyes has instilled in this team. It's just so positive to see that, but what we were six weeks ago, if you're comparing that mentality of that squad to what it is now, if you comparing it, it's just polar opposites, and it's so good to see that we've got that never say die attitude. We saw it on Wednesday evening against Liverpool, for example. We saw that in the face of adversity, we went 2-1 behind. We managed to come back and get a victory, get a point there, and then also getting pegged back on Saturday against Crystal Palace and coming back again to get the victory. I think that just shows what kind of mentality David Moyes has instilled, and the players look really happy to be playing for the club, and they look really like they're really enjoying the football. So again, long may it continue. We've got another tough game on Saturday against Manchester United. But just to finish, I'll go on to my standout performers, and obviously I have to talk about Carlos Alcaraz again. I think he was absolutely fantastic, but also Beto, seeing him playing the way he is and scoring goals aplenty. I think that's really positive to see. And obviously I was always going to mention the two scorers as being my standout performers, but one that maybe didn't get the credit he deserved for Saturday's performance, I think it was Jarrod Branthwaite. I think he was absolutely fantastic at the back once again, showed why he is going to go on to big huge things in his career. I think he's just an absolute immense centre half, and he shows why we are so defensively solid. Him and Tarkowski's partnership, once they're firing and they're playing well together, it does massively show on the pitch because we are a lot more solid with them two playing well. But that being said, I don't think he got the praise that he kind of deserved on Saturday, but in my opinion, I thought he was absolutely immense. But that is it really for my extra time match review of Crystal Palace 1, Everton 2. Obviously, I touched on it before. We've got a massive game on Saturday at 12:30 against Manchester United at Goodison Park. But, we're 5 unbeaten now in the league. Why can't we make it 6? Manchester United look a very poor outfit. So, again, on to Saturday. I'm really hoping we can get one over Manchester United. But that is all from me today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about obviously the victory against Crystal Palace, and then let me know your thoughts also about looking forward to Saturday's game against Manchester United. But that is all from me today. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.